tonight. Barry was supposed to help out with this, but he chickened out. What we're going to do is try to demo how to do the drinking flask. I got one that's already halfway turned, and we're going to do the, we'll start it with this one, and I'll start turning a little bit of this, and then we'll switch over to this one. I just want to show you all the steps it takes to turn this, because you actually have to grab it from all four sides when you turn this thing. You're going to turn it one way, then you're going to turn it, put it back on the lathe a different direction, but you will turn it in 4 different directions. I like doing, you can see it on this one, it makes it easier if you mark what you want to turn, because as it's spinning on the lathe, you'll see it on the TV screen. You can actually see the black marks, so you can just cut to those black marks. You start off with a 5 by 7 by 3 inch block. This one's a little bit thin. It's about 2 3/4, 2 7/8. It'll still work. I watched this demo over at the AAW symposium. Jimmy Clewes did the demo on it, and he was able to do it in about 1 hour and 45 minutes from start to finish. I'm not going to be anywhere close to that, but we will try to get it through as many steps as possible tonight. And as you can see on the screen, you can see the black lines. It helps. I know everybody doesn't like to turn fast, but it does help to turn this one fast, because you're cutting a lot of air on this. Turn that off. Before I go too much further, I'll explain the dimension on this thing here. What you do is come in 1/2 inch, then you find your center mark between here and here, and you mark your center mark, and then the rest of it is going to be your neck. It looks like the neck's going to be small, but this was done the same way. Once you get started turning it, the neck actually gets longer because of this turning inwards. But this was the same way. It came in 1 inch, found center from there to this X here, and then the rest of it's your neck. You want to pass both of those around? basically you can see it, I'm down to this black line here, but I really want to turn it to the other black line. The inside, from here, it's going to curve outward. And at this point, what you're turning to down here is a tenon, like on the bottom of this one, that you can grab with your chuck. You're going to grab onto it at this end, and so you're going to turn your neck and everything, and then we'll go ahead and throw this on. I'll turn this up just a little bit more, but you can see I'm starting to get a nice radius here. This needs to come down even further to make the tenon down here.
So the one on the lathe should look like the one on the table before you pull it off. Pretty close to it.
Yeah, pretty close to it. I'm not a spindle turner. If I turn 10 spindles, they're all going to look different. So this one's going to look different than that one, but basically it's going to be can you guys see the black line?
Yep.
So basically I'm getting pretty close to it. I've still got a little flat spot on both sides here, so it just needs to be taken down just a hair more. Anybody got any questions on this part of it? Okay, I'll just jump to the next section of it. You basically want to turn it down to this form. And at this point, I would do most of my sanding that you wanted to on this edge of it now. Because once you turn it around, you may lose the tenon that you're going to be able to grab a hold of it to sand it again.
Can you power sand there?
Yeah, you can. I power sand everything.
That's what she said.
Alright, keep it clean back there. Okay, what you're gonna do, once you get it down to where you can get a tenant on it, you would go from here, you get your tenant turned down, so you can grab a hold of it here. Then what you're gonna do is take your Jacobs chuck with a 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch drill bit and drill in this in. This one's already got it drilled, so I'm not gonna, basically you just stick it in, drill your hole. You wanna make sure that you come down at least into this area here. Because that's where it's gonna be, where you're gonna hollow it out at. Then what you do is, once you get your your hole drilled here, you just come in here and work it with one of your gouges to just make it a funnel. See if we can get it centered up a little bit better here.
Keith, is there any better wood than another? I know she had pasta, this one looks like it's,
That one's cedar. The cedar was just it was a piece off of an 8x8 cedar post.
okay.
And it was the only piece of wood that I had in the shop that was that big. As you can see, most of the wood I have in my shop are little bitty pieces, so.
Or will be soon.
Yeah.
What type of wood did Jimmy Clewes use?
It was a piece of cherry.
Yeah. He complained about it too.
Yeah. But basically, you just go in here like this. And you neck it down enough to make it a funnel where you can drink out of it or have the stuff run down your chin. And you can go as far and as deep as you want. But basically, that's how you do this end of it. And again, once you get it as what you want it, sand now, because again, you may not be able to grab it again with that tenon. So at that point, you would have it to this point here, and we're going to grab it the other direction now.
When do you drill the hole?
You can drill the hole anytime you want. This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can drill it at the beginning, like this one.
Okay.
How
Good.
did you make that hole when you start?
Just about halfway through.
Okay.
And we're gonna I'm switching chucks just because this one has the bigger jaws to it. Actually, I want to leave the other one in there right now so I can use it with the spigot. The tenon I want to make on the other side, I want to make it as big as I can, because then when you go to turn it off, you're not losing a lot of wood. I will show you that here in a second. Like I said, I apologize for it. Barry was going to get some of these turned into different stages, but didn't get it done before he ended up in the hospital, and I was out of town all week in Springfield. I just got back today. I was afraid of that. I didn't drill it deep enough. It's deep enough. It's just hard to get on there. And you gotta watch out. You're gonna have that flopping around on you, so don't put your banjo underneath it. I'm gonna measure my jaws here. About 3 1/4. You don't want to make this tenon you want to make it as small as possible. You don't want to make a real thick tenon on this one because the thicker you make it, the thinner your flask is going to be. Just make it just thick enough that you can be able to grab a hold of it. A little bit. Any questions so far?
What kind of jaws are those?
Pardon?
What do you call those jaws?
Big John.
Big jaws? I don't know. These aren't mine, these are the club's.
Is that like a number 3 or something like that, or?
It's a jumbo.
Yeah, it's whatever came in the box.
Yeah, I think those, they make them in 70 millimeter and 100 millimeter.
Yeah, these are probably hundreds.
Yeah, it looks.
Keith, the reason you put the chuck on like that, instead of re-chucking, or?
Well, I'm gonna do it, I'm
No, I
gonna do
understand, you could have put the chuck on and tried to.
I could, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that this would fit on there
Ah,
before I took it back off again and they didn't fit.
You got the one-way tailstock or like bearing, you can screw the 3/4 to 1-inch gap on it.
yeah.
Screw that cover on there, stick it on the tailstock, run it right up against there, everything's off center, and you can tighten it down.
Yeah.
And it'll be dead on.
Okay,
Then you loosen the one on your headstock.
I do have a one-way tail stuff for you. Okay.
There's a little adapter.
Okay, at this point, you're going to
3/4 to 1 inch.
hollow the vessel out. On both of these, what you're looking for is you're going to hollow it out, but you're going to put yourself a little recess in here. And that's what that plug is for. So you want to figure out how big of a plug you want to make, and then you make your recess, and then from there, you hollow it out.
So you got a drink and breathalyzer all at the same time.
Yeah.
So
So,
is the size of the plug you're gonna make just your,
Yeah.
whatever you want it to be?
yeah. If you make a small one, then you gotta just do a lot of, it makes it harder to hollow. If you make it big, then you can almost use a bowl gouge to hollow it out. Again, it's right at about, three inches or so. Yeah, you can make the plugs real small if you wanted to. I'm gonna get rid of this for like a second, because I hate when
I think you gotta pull the pin.
the live center jams right in the back of your elbow. Now this recess can be as deep as you want. I'm doing it just about 3/16 of an inch thick. The deeper you go, the thicker your plug's going to be. And it's a lot easier if you just take a big Forstner bit at this point and just hog out the center of it. Get rid of the slow wood. Somebody told me that last weekend. Yeah. The center wood, they call it slow wood. Well, right where I'm cutting, they call it slow wood because it moves real slow. I'll let him go for a second. And when Jimmy did this, he said he didn't care how rough the inside was. He called it as rough as a badger's ass, and we all asked him, well, how rough is a how do you know how rough a badger's ass was?
Then he didn't answer.
No.
Pretty sure on the bad, though, it's the other end you gotta worry about.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to hollow too much with that. I lost the ammo screw for that, or the Allen wrench for that.
Maybe get out Jim's depth gauge tomorrow.
I'm nowhere close to being at depth, but
You sure? Yeah, I'll tell you when to stop. You see the light?
no offense, Tim, but I've seen some of your. And I'm not gonna hollow the whole thing out tonight for you guys, but that's basically what you do is just hollow this out as much as you can. Then we'll make the plug here for it.
That's the present challenge. January, that's right.
You get going.
It's seasonal.
Nobody cares. Everybody. Yeah. That's
Okay, and this is the way he did it, and it was kind of cool the way he. Instead of, what he did is just took a square block of wood like this to make his plug. He didn't cut it round or anything like that. I'll send it real quick so we're close. So I've got about 2 7/8 of an inch. About 1 inch and 7/16. Basically, he just made himself and jammed it. There you go. It's round.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's see how close we are to it. And this is the most tedious part of it, is just getting your plug to fit tight. right there. I keep wearing off my thing, but basically you're just going to do it so it's tight. Like I said, this is the most fiddly part of it, just trying to get it tight. I get close, and then I go too far. There we go. There we go. Oh, they're pretty tight. Then what you're going to do is chuck it back up again and turn off the excess. And from experience, make sure that you always turn it, just make sure it's going to clear your banjo. at that point, you just kind of smooth out your plug however you want it to look. I mean, there's no right or wrong way, just as long as it's plugged and it stays in there tight.
Keith, do you, when you get that plug kind of flush, do you roll up on the side of the flask to cut more of the side of the flask off? Or is that pretty much done?
Yeah, I mean, you want to get this, you know, as flat as you can. I mean, it doesn't have to be like this one's got a little bit of a crown to it. Okay, whatever. This one here, you can see it's got a little bit of a crown to it. There is no right or wrong way. It's just a plug. You can make it decorative if you wanted to.
Right.
You know, there's no, hey, it's got to be flush. It has to be anything. What he said is if this was a harder wood and this is a softer wood, when you put liquid in it, the softer wood would swell.
Right.
And it'd be just like the whiskey barrel, that eventually it would swell up enough that it would stop leaking.
I like my car.
At that point,
Yeah, I know exactly. But not quite.
At that point, you would, and I don't know if I did that deep enough to get to the hole in it or not. We're gonna turn it around and chuck it the other direction to take this tenon off. Yeah, I didn't go deep enough with the coring part. But if you had it cored deep enough, you could blow in it and just pop the lid back out again. At that point, you just would turn it around this direction and redo this side and take off the tenon on this side. And you can see it's off center. So, I mean, you try to do both sides symmetrical, but again, if it is a flask, you could, what I've seen is they put a piece of leather around this point and a piece of leather around, you know, it comes, ties it off here, puts it up here, ties it off here, and has a string, a tail left still on it. And then you drill a hole through the stopper and tie it off there so it comes off, and you can put it, use this loop here to put it on your belt.
So how do you clean the tenon off the bottom?
Okay, if you're going, when you do this one, again, to do this one, you would just chuck it this direction.
Right.
And don't chuck against the outer edge. You're going to chuck into this part here.
You have to leave that thick enough that it's not fragile.
Yeah. But you would chuck it just like that. Put it in there, and then you can turn this tenon off. But I don't want to turn that tenon off because else I wouldn't be able to finish the hollowing.
So how do you get rid of the foot?
Okay, the foot. So, does anybody have any questions on to this point? Everybody's clear as mud, right? Like I said, I didn't go deep enough in the coring part to expose the hole, but this hole is drilled down to about here. So once I start coring it out further, that hole will show up. To do this end of it, make yourself a little jam chucky. Oh man, them babies get on there tight. Again, all it is a piece of wood that's coned out that this will fit on. How are we doing on time? We okay?
Only Thursday.
Put it on like that. Put your tailstock up against this end of it. Like I said, you're gonna grab this thing from all different directions to turn this thing. At that point, you just finish this off. Again, I'm not gonna do it in case we want to come back and sand all this stuff. We still can. But at this point, you would just finish off the foot. Also, like I said, on these, make these sections here a little deeper, like a recess. I didn't do it on this one. So this one, you really can't tie the stopper on. I mean, I guess I could put it up here, but there's no real spot for the leather or string or whatever you use. Like this one here, we turn, has a little recess down here where it'll stay in that area. Same thing here. And then you just drill a hole through your stopper and have it long enough that you can get it off. Then you won't lose your stopper. Because then you just got to drink everything that's in it real quick.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem.
But again, it's just basically you're just making a jam chuck this way to get it to turn so you can turn the tenon off on the bottom. And it's enough that you can get that turned off. And then what you'll end up with is just a little nub at the bottom that you just cut off and sand down. Sorry it wasn't a whole thing, but anybody got any questions?